Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and this is a different type of video today because I want to address something that I should have addressed the other day. It was St. George's Day and it kind of crept up on me and I didn't make any reference to it on the channel. And anybody who's watched these videos for any length of time will know that I am a staunch Englishman. And in fact, I often put as a what do you call it? A prefix, is it? A pretext? The quest for England in front of the main heading. And I felt that I should have said something about England. Every now and again I'll make perhaps what may be deemed by some as a patriotic video, which may be tolerated by some, hated by others, and appreciated by many more. And I'm pleased to say that. In the last year or so, I've had this more focused attention to try and explore and present more about England. And then we went into the pandemic, which my intentions were to travel around and explore and stay in Airbnbs and get round. And of course, with the pandemic, one had to continue, but more locally based, and so everything had been pretty much Sussex based, although there was the occasional trip last year when we were allowed out. And I'm hoping now that we're coming out of this pandemic, although there are theories that it's never going to go away, that one can go further afield and actually explore this wonderful country and bring it to you. But at the same time as exploring the country, I want to explore what I call England. I am an Englishman through and through. My parents were English, my grandparents were English. I consider myself as English as the next Englishman. There may be a bit of Swedish on my father's side, but I think on my mother's side it continues to go back. And unfortunately I can't trace my genealogy too far back, or at least I haven't tried to, put it like that. I love this country and I am an Englishman, but in my quest for England, I think, having looked at the comments and heard what people have said, is there's obviously different types of England for different types of people. People who are not English, for a start, obviously see England in many different ways, some good, some not so good. And of course, those people who are English, curiously, some actually call themselves European first, British second, and for some reason English third, which I find most confusing and cannot comprehend. I consider myself as an Englishman first, British second, and other things down the line after that. In fact, you know, I mean, yes, of course, I'm in Europe as a part of Europe, but I don't think of myself at all as European. I'm English. I am most definitely English and proud of it. And part of the videos that I make, and especially in the future, I feel that one needs to continually remind people that being English and living in England is not a bad thing, and that we're not bad people. I feel that our history is being attacked, it's trying to be rewritten, there are slants being given to it more strongly than need be, that there's a lot of the negative side being emphasized, which is, you know, there's good and there's bad, but I feel there's far, far more good than bad. And I want to somehow, in my small way, address the balance through my videos. But I appreciate that the England that I seek, the quest that I'm on, is not the same quest as anybody else. And so I feel, as I mentioned in a Sunday chat recently that I do, I feel that I need to not try and find a definitive England, because everyone's England is going to be different, but I'm actually looking for my England. Which means it is my England. No one can say it's not my England. You might disagree with my thoughts and my findings, but you cannot criticize me for having my own England. You can say I'm wrong and have your own opinion, of course, and you're very welcome to. I think one of the things about England is that we have had, and till fairly recently, the ability to express ourselves freely, and that is such a good thing. So I plan to carry on with my exploration and my quest for England, but it's very much going to be my England. My England, I feel, in recent years, but also in the last 100 years, and specifically, I think, after the Second World War, has been on the attack. And I often wonder whether we won the war. I think we managed to defeat an enemy in the Second World War, but I don't think we really won the war, and that's a shame. So I'm principally trying to find the England that I identify with, which I feel much of it has gone. I also want to try and explain how I think of England as being an amalgamation of its unique attributes, really. So the landscape, the heritage, the nature, the weather. Every nation, every country will have its own landscape, heritage, nature and weather, and all of that, I think, wrapped up together brings you the character of the people who live there. And as in England, our geology changes so rapidly in such a short space of distance that, you know, you go from one region to region, and before the transport of materials became easy, i.e. through trains, people were building their homes and their farmsteads out of the local materials. And as you travel around England, in such short distances, you see how the vernacular architecture changes because of the local materials that things were built in. And I think that is part of what gives England its unique look. One of the most important things, I think, for England is farming. It's something that the average ordinary Englishman has been involved in up until, I guess, the beginning of the 20th century. And of course, more people were moving out in the Industrial Revolution, but farming has been so important to us until really the last 100 years, I think. And then it no longer became something that we all were part of. If you think of an English village, for example, the fact that an English village came into fruition through originally people farming and then people supplying the farmers and the labourers with the necessaries that they needed for a comfortable life, and the tools for their trade, a blacksmith, a candlestick maker, a baker, and so on and so forth. But now you look at the villages and their purpose, their original purpose, which for generations had been the same, has gone. And I feel that the England that I look for may be a rose tinted, it may be a nostalgic England, it may have its roots very firmly in the past. But I do want to continue to see if there's bits that are relevant to me. I mean, clearly, I'm in the 21st century. I'm using modern techniques and modern technology to bring and communicate the things that in the past, perhaps, as William Cobbett would have done on his rural rides or in his government work, missives on papers. And in a way, I'm not comparing myself at all with William Cobbett, but there is that sense that I want to look at England and see what state it is in. So although I didn't address it very clearly in, or rather I missed the fact that St. George's Day, which is a day that we ought to have as a bank holiday for one thing, that we don't, and that some people are ashamed to have the flag. Well, I'm not. I embrace it. It is my country. It is my duty in a way, and I think every Englishman has his duty, and I think we've lost a lot. When Prince Philip died, we've lost a lot of that sense of duty, but not all of us. There are many of us underneath, underground, unknown perhaps, who still hold England dear. And so going on with these videos, that's where I've switched it, not from a definitive England that anybody could agree with, but with my own England that hopefully people will find interesting and may or may not disagree with, and perhaps will elicit interesting debates in the comments below. But I thought, seeing as I missed out St. George's Day, that I would address it today. And thank you very much for listening. I'm sorry if this has sounded a bit incoherent, and it is sort of just thoughts randomly gathered that have impressed on me, and hopefully through the videos going onwards, that I can address all these points and make them clearer as we explore this wonderful an amazing country of which I love so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on another video out and about. Bye-bye.